in the bottom right, as the pink Protoss.
Game paused.
Okay. We'll just do our introductions anyway. Shh. In the bottom right, as the pink Protoss, it's Zest. And in the top left, as the red Toss, it's Skillless. You know, for a tournament that started out with just like around 100 people, this is going pretty quick. What do you mean cosplaying as a Sith Lord? I am the Senate. Yeah, no, it's actually... Okay, so here's the issue, right? So I have very dark lighting in my room, and this is the room I have to my name. And, like, okay, well, Katowice would be like, you should use webcam. We strongly suggest you use webcam. So I'm like, okay, I use webcam. And I borrow a webcam from roommate, and I spend an hour and a half trying to white balance it. But I didn't take into account that the brightness is actually coming from the webcam. Like, it's artificial brightness. Like, the amount of light that you're seeing is not how bright my room is. So when I switch tabs, like, on the computer is actually brighter than the lighting in my room when it like displays a white screen or a bright screen. And most of my stuff is in dark mode. So I'm violently switching from like dark grays and blacks to white, which is not something I took into account.
Game resumed.
Okay, we've done our introductions. Yeah, Zest coming off of a 2-0 over Skillless. I haven't had time to read the entire bracket, so you guys can check that out. Exclamation bracket in the chat. Something interesting to note here. So whenever there's a pause in game, it's a disruption of momentum. It depends on the players. At this high of a skill level, it really shouldn't be too impactful, but it depends on the person, right? Like, it can be very tilting to go into a game to be spamming your keyboard and then just have all that momentum totally arrested. We'll have to see if that affects this matchup. So far, it looks like both players very calm, very collected, very on top of their macro. Keoff, I have 2 light bulbs in the room. I just prefer it, like, very dark. Okay, alright. So Zest dropping a proxy robo. This can definitely work. It can definitely do damage. It's up to Skillous to react to this properly. He's posturing to take a natural. Skillous opening double Stalker. As is Zest. So whenever you're casting a PvP, what you always want to look for are the first two, or if you're playing a PvP, what you're looking for are the first two units out of these gateways. You know, Stalker Sentry means defense, Adept means light offense, and Stalker means like brutal offense. Look, he's scouting around. He suspects something, but he's on the wrong scout pattern, unfortunately. So that Immortal will make it out of the robotics facility. Zest and Skillous both continuing to pump out Stalkers. Okay. Okay, he's not passed into the enemy forces. They're going to pass each other very narrowly. Zest will get the Immortal in here. Skillous did not expand. It's going to be met with two Stalkers, but they're going to be move commanded at first. Oh no, they get... Yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about. Okay, one Stalker goes down. Skillous ahead in the trade, or Zest ahead in the trades. Skillous is going to be playing from behind here on out. There's the recall on the Stalkers, and these probes are being gunned down. Now, probes, believe it or not, pretty decent against Immortals when you're in this situation, because Immortals do a lot of attack damage really slowly, like, right? You gotta rely on the Immortals to gun those probes down. Or rely on the Stalkers to gun the probes down while the Immortals put work on these Stalkers if it comes down to that again. Both players do have Warp Prism. That's going to add greater utility and greater lifespan to both of their units. Zest continuing to commit, another Immortal coming to reinforce. He's throwing down a shield battery back home as well, just to be safe in case Skillous chooses to counterattack. Zest splitting off the Warp Prism, going for a drop, see if he can shut down some tech. Stalkers need to make decisions on how to respond. I really like this from Skillous. He's going to drop a force field on the ramp while the Stalkers push away the Immortals. However, the force field is soon to expire. Zest could push up here. Fog of War is a cruel mistress. And there's another force field. However, the Immortal drop does pick off the pylon. That means the robotics facility is going to be unpowered. No Immortals for Skillous, and these sentries can only do so much against Immortals backed up by a Warp Prism. But there's the probes, allowing the Stalker sentry to put in damage behind them. Zest is up 7 workers, though. And the rest of these probes will be gunned down. Zest is just going to stand here, tank the little bit of damage that Skillous can output, and shut this down. Zest recalls to take care of these two Adepts. GG is called. Zest goes up 1-0 in the series. It's Zest. And in the top right, as the red Protoss, once again, it's Skillous. Contrary to what his name might indicate, Skillous does have a pretty large amount of skill. Can he bring that to bear? Can he take down Zest? This is a very Very aggressive proxy. 2-gate. He proxied the Forge. He proxied the Forge. It's gonna work. Skilless went for a Cybercore. He's gonna try to get out a Stalker to stop this, but he doesn't know about the proxy 2-gate that's backing this up. Xenodactyl is going to be taking some notes with this one. Okay, there's the defensive Forge from Zest. However, it will be in range of these cannons. As long as Skilless can maintain high ground vision, this is a nice pylon block. Both these players doing their absolute best to thwart the plans of the other. It's going to come down to micro battles. Double Adept so they can gun down these Zealots, gun down this probe from behind the wall, the cannons, putting in work on the gateways. Okay, this gateway is definitely dead, no matter what. The Adept can't kill the Zealots in time. They're going to break through. Oh no, the probe's not in position to micro. Zest macro. Here comes the probe pool. More Zealots coming out of the gateway for Skilless. He's going to continue putting on the pressure. A second gateway will fall in a matter of seconds. For Zest, Zest has a couple defensive cannons coming up. So Skilless is kind of locked down here. He can't push up any farther. There's a shield battery, and this is very well held from Zest. GG is called. A Zest. Next map is going to be Ephemeron. In the top left, as the pink Protoss, it's Zest. And in the bottom right, as the red Toss, it's Skilless. Skilless. Down 2-0 in the best of 5. He's going to have to reverse sweep Zest, which is a tall order for any StarCraft 2 player. Can he do it? Both players opening with a gate this time. In the proper locations. Zest going for a proxy Stargate. He has a couple games to play around with. You know, he has a variety of builds. Also, you might be wondering, why can't I see what's building in these gateways? Just like a production note here, you know, the players host the lobbies, not me. And there is a bug where you can end up with the Warcraft 3 console skins or something of the sort. So a lot of pro players and players in general have been opting not to use WCS Game Heart. for the past month or so. It's gonna be an Oracle out of Zest. Not really any surprise there. Skilless up in the sentry count. Stalker's already positioned in the mineral line. And he has scouted the proxy. Skillets did cannon rush Zest's Xenodactyl. Goodbye, Stargate. Goodbye! Phoenix Scout flies into Zest's main. It's gonna see all. It's going to know all. Immortal comes out of the Robo facility. Warp Prism following it up. Zest going for a drop Immortal and a couple Sentry, and there's sure to be a follow-up warp in as well. The Oracle does get picked off. Worker counts even for now, starting off this engagement, as is the army supply. Zest is going in with the Warp Prism. Skilless still scouting out Hallucinated Phoenix, as you will in a PvP. Disruptor shot, going to zone this out for now. Zest getting his own Robotics Bay back home. Second robotics facility is about to pop. Or a pink toss. Twilight Council going down for him as well. Oh, Skilless got forced to the lid pretty hard here. Immortal takes down a Stalker. Skilless is angry. Skilless is going for the move out. He will get an early kill on the Stalker. Lily now. Zest has a concave set up, but Skilless going for the Adept Shade into the main. Oh my god, that Disruptor shot picked off like 8 freaking probes. Skilless with his own nice Disruptor shot. Probes are falling in droves. Warp Prism goes down for Zest, and Skilless gets a point on the board, making the score 2-1. In the top left, as the pink toss, it's Zest. And in the bottom right, as the red toss, it's Skillous. Zest, still a game away from victory, but Skillous has swung momentum in his favor. That's something I really like to talk about when I cast these type of events, especially in best of fives. You know, tilt and momentum are very real factors. There's like the normal game of StarCraft that's being played on your screen, and then there's the mental game of StarCraft that's being played in both these players' heads, right? Zest, perhaps a little overconfident in the last game. You know, he's like, well, I thoroughly trounced Skillous in the first two games. I'm surely going to do so in the third, but it was his undoing. And when you receive that kind of psychological blow where you're expecting to win and you don't win, can be very tilting for you. Zest is going to proxy once again, it looks like. Yep, there's the pylon. Skillous scouting around for it, but he's nowhere near on the path to finding it. Xeno, it was 2 games ago, so that's helpful. It was game number 2 of this series. It should, on the VOD actually, you'll see, no, I don't think it does chapters for when I change the stream title. It might. See if there's a button you can click that says chapters, and then just, it'll fast forward you to Zest vs Skillous. The timestamp is around 2 hours, like 2 hours 2:15 into the stream is when that game was played. Zest is going for the proxy robo build. Now this was successful in game number 1. Let's see if it happens again. Skillous has dropped a natural. Skillous zoning out with a force field for now. He's got to know what's hitting him. He's going for his own robotics facility. He does still have a force field ready to drop as well. Warp Prism going to add infinite value to this Immortal. And of course, allow Zest to reinforce this forward position. He has another Immortal baking at the proxy robo. Oh, not the best force fields here from Skillous. His units are being gunned down. He's going to retreat. He does have 3 shield batteries. They can't heal dead units. And Zest is target firing down this army. The Immortal survives! These sentries can't put in that last tick of damage. They're going to try and get it. Ooh. Does go down, but Zest has enough to break this. All 3 shield batteries out of energy. The pylon under fire. GG is called, and Zest takes the series 3-1. Rip. Sorry, Xeno. I didn't know where we were at in the bracket at that time.